Welcome back, or welcome in general, with your host, the Shy Guy. And it has been quite the month since I've last gave a proper sort of video to my channel where I'm doing nothing but talking about useless nonsense that you guys seem to like. But yes, indeed, what a month it has been. With just really work out where the hell I'm going with this whole channel at the moment. We are currently in September. We are almost, well, we're not almost actually. We are 1 month away from my 1 year anniversary. That's a little crazy to think about that. This channel's not grown as much as I've never really sort of had a sort of predicament or a sort of goal. It's more or less just me producing content and just putting it out there for the sake of my own amusement. I'm not really there for the sort of massive subscribers, even if I'm inspired by Mandy Energy and how she has just under 3,000 subscribers, I think, something like that. I'm not looking to push numbers just like that. It's just for my own amusement, so that's that. But no, one whole year for a YouTube channel, that's quite impressive. That's quite the dedication, since most people tend to give up after the first few months because views and subscribers and likes have been very disengaging and very the opposite of the word promising. But I can assure you, we don't really mind. Today, as stated in our last episode for our mini anime reaction series I did over the June-July, we are back to our usual schedule with KickStart EuroStar beats. That's also me trying to get back into the swing of Eurobeat, because I might have betrayed you guys just a little bit, because I had quite the summer to myself, and I got back into the bandwagon of a vaporwave and a bit of mallsoft, and I feel like I might dabble in those again a little bit in winter, because it's quite an atmospheric little genre, and I know it's a little bit controversial at times. It's probably not what you would expect me to listen to, but hey ho, I am, and there's nothing you can do about that. But yeah, no, vaporwave, mallsoft, slushwave, and a couple of the other subgenres. Not so much the synthwave stuff. The art's cool, but not the music. But don't worry, guys. I don't think I'm going to be doing vaporwave or converting my channel to vaporwave just yet. I have been thinking about it, sort of, but I think it would be even more difficult to tackle vaporwave than it would be to tackle Eurobeat. Eurobeat is a sort of dying genre, as the term is thrown around in the Eurobeat community on Reddit. Vaporwave is even more of a harder genre to try reboot, maybe. But let's stop talking about such a genre existing. We are going to talk about Eurobeat and Eurobeat only before I decide to change and mix things up on my channel. And that won't be until a good year or so. Without a year. Today we're on episode 8. Quite a good number. We are still in our Eurobeat labels arc of the series. And today we'll be exploring SCP's EuroKudos Volume 1. I was going to do Volume 2 as well, but considering that would take like 20 songs or 18 songs to review exactly, it would take quite the phenomenal, it would take quite a substantial amount of time, and for someone who's not got a lot of time at the moment with personal life I don't need that at the moment while trying to return to this channel. I mean, it's only 8 songs in first volume. If you take out the last 3 that are just edits or some strange remixes of 3 of the songs previously in the volume. Volume 2 also does that, so that's why I was going to leave those ones out and then just do the original 8. I'm not really into remixes or remakes and stuff like that, so it's a little bit okay. Maybe SCP is just trying to be a little bit different. However, if you're quite active on the channel, you might have noticed the community post that I recently posted. Something about the fact that I didn't upload the video on the Sunday of the blah blah blah, I don't care what date. And I said something about a Super Euro surprise, or I can't remember what the hell I typed, but it was a Super Euro surprise. That's because today we've got another collaboration with our KickStart EuroStar beats. And I've said this before when I first did a collaboration in episode 2 with SCP fan from Reddit, because our friend Nit from Discord is quite the Italo-Disco fan, if anything, but enjoys a little bit of Eurobeat every now and then, and SCP, I believe, is probably one of their best choices of favourites, just for whatever reason. And I apologize for also making some weird assumption. Probably should have rehearsed this in general, but okay. But just like episode 2, if you've seen it, I will be linking it as usual. It's just a matter of me sharing my review and them sharing their review, and we sort of just, compare between the two of, do we agree or do we not agree, if anything. But before we move on to that, I also want to say, I've also said this on my Reddit page as well, if you ever want to, or if you're ever up for a collaboration with me on any of my videos, it's nothing more simpler than just getting in contact and just seeing where you can get involved, and I'm not going to deny such a request, so, but that's our Super Euro news, and let's just really get started on the video itself. So, brief introduction to the series, or really what KickStart EuroStar Beats is all about. If anything, if you're familiar with the channel and if you've been following the series from episode 1, and I've said this in all episodes so far, you're obliged to skip such a nonsense if you want. Or unless you want to refresh your mind, then please continue. Also, if you are new to this little shenanigans show that I put on, feel free to stay for the entire episode. So KickStart EuroStar Beats is Series 1 on the blogging series of the Shy Guy reviewing Eurobeat. And here's how I'll be reviewing it. It's a 1 to 5 star ratio, no half stars, on how vibrant a song can get, plus additional comments on how the album is in general, and how the album cover art itself is. Oh god. That's, I'm pretty sure we've decided that's going to be a separate video from the series. Also, depending on how long the series is or how many songs are in that album, I might be obliged to review more than one album in a video, so that we can really define or encourage you to take this path into Eurobeat. Again, that's exactly what I was going to do. I was going to review Volume 1 and Volume 2, but considering it would take up so much runtime, I didn't do that. And we discovered that through Brad Sinclair's Volume 1. That's like 20 odd songs or so, and I'm just sitting here thinking, wowzers, that turned out to be an hour long, and that's not been the greatest video so far on this channel because, let's be fair, humans today, not really criticizing you, but humans today have quite the short attention span, so it's a little bit difficult to keep things, going on and on and on as much as I'd like to, but you guys suffer quite a bit, and I'm trying to learn from that. Introduction to the series of EuroKudos. The date released of Volume 1 is the 29th of January 2014. That's quite late considering the fact that I don't even know when SCP even started, but I'm pretty sure they started around about like 2010, sort of mid-initial D sort of airing time. 2014 is quite late to the Eurobeat scene. But I think that's when Eurobeat was getting a bit different and changing in terms of sounds and stuff. And Volume 2, which we won't be reviewing, but if I want to make a part 2 of this video, maybe I will. Volume 2 was released on the 12th of February 2014, so not far from each other. How far has the series ran on from? 26 volumes. That's quite an impressive number, actually. 26 volumes, with the last being in 2018. That's when they sort of stopped their EuroKudos, which they suddenly in 2020, I believe, or 2021, they came out with a Kickstarter project. Yes, this series is sort of a little bit inspired by that name and inspired by the sort of purpose that they did. SCP has been a little bit quiet recently. The only time they even really seem to show up is when the Best of Super Eurobeat, whatever year it is, comes out. The last being Always Play With Fire in SCB 2022. So it'd be interesting to see what they really do, but I think they're just going to remain a little bit anonymous for now. How popular do I think it is? Well, Initial D folks with Fastway, Ace, and combined with Hotblade. Heck, even Jagger, and all things mixed in with Pamsy's Fragile. Yes, this is a pretty well-known label, but not as well-known in terms of people supporting it, in my opinion. Mind you, when the Kickstarter project came out, there was a huge burst of 250 people, if not more, in wanting to support the unique volume, which you can only buy as a digital release these days. I was new on the Eurobeat scene when this came out. I didn't know SCP. I probably knew a couple of songs by Fastway and Ace, Raising Hell, Rockin' Hardcore, all the really sort of Initial D gateway stuff. But I like the cover art to the Kickstart project. It's quite cute, and I quite like the 250 volume order that they did as well, because it sort of really bumped up the hype and everything. But they've just sort of gone back into the shadows, and who knows what has happened. Any facts? And we have 3 facts to be discussing. SEP is an acronym of Stefano Castagno Productions, one of the founders of this Italian label, starting in 1996. Okay, right, so yeah, they've been making songs from at least 1996 of some sort. That's around about the same time as Asia Records and all the other sort of, later to the scene on Eurobeat, but not later on the scene. No, actually, Asia Records didn't even start in the late 90s. They started in early 90s of some sort, but we're not talking about Asia Records. Forget Asia Records at the moment. But 1996, that's quite late on the Eurobeat scene, considering Eurobeat started in the sort of 1990, 1991. We're focusing on Eurobeat, Eurotrance, and Eurotechno, hence why this label is significant enough and capable to stand out on its very own, as no other label even comes close to with their style and melodies. I would strongly believe in that, it is very sort of technical. Not sure on the whole Eurotrance, Eurotechno, what that sort of like classifies as, but I would really agree that this is a label that does. It is very significant from like all the others put together. SEP Music Compilation Series compiling their catalogue also includes some spin-off releases such as Eurobeat Instrumental, which is self-explanatory, and EuroKudos Special Bandcamp Collection. Do support artists on Bandcamp and Juno Download and all the other ones as well, because why wouldn't you if you want to support the genre and for Eurobeat to not die? And last but not least, the series changed its name at Volume 9 from EuroKudos to Eurobeat Kudos. I like EuroKudos though, it's different. Eurobeat Kudos just makes it specific. Maybe it wasn't getting recognised enough in the Eurobeat genre, so they decided to change it to make it a bit more mainstream. That's horrible, but that's probably due to Initial D fans, maybe. No, I'm not blaming you guys, but maybe it got a little bit lost in translation because it doesn't contain the word Eurobeat in it. And last but not least, ratings of the song. Discuss who sung it, labels maybe. Okay, we don't need that for this arc. Any notes, start rating, and let's get into this. Up for track 1, Yo Shine, Power of My Love, 2 stars out of 5, Linda Orgarelli, 2010. Intro. Anyone else thinking of Para Para? Well, I mean, that's if we know Para Para. What an interesting thing for me to say at least, considering I have never really talked about Para Para on this channel, despite being aware of its existence. Also like Mandy Energy, who's also mentioned Para Para, and has done a bit of Para Para, but that's as far as anyone seems to go within Eurobeat at the moment. Yo Shine is a small alias of 2 songs, both by Linda Orgarelli, and the second one appearing in EuroKudos Volume 2, but then never again. I don't know whether it's yo, as in a misspell of you, as someone who might be talking about broken English, which is thrown around in the Eurobeat community quite a lot, that apparently the Italians are speaking in broken English. I wouldn't know. If there's anyone who's speaking in broken English, it's gonna be me, who is English. And that wasn't a nice comment to be making of the Italians. Couldn't really care less for myself. We Brits like to insult ourselves quite a bit. It's our humour. Or if the alias is yo, as in yo in a greeting. But who knows? But let's talk about the song, and if it's a good introduction for a long, probably, and I think nowadays, discontinued series. Well, for starters, it's not a wild song, in fact, almost an opposite. Sure, Linda has given it her all, and always is, in her vocals, but the melody is so quiet and held back for an SEP track, it almost gives the wrong impression. If it wasn't for the vocals, well, then it wouldn't be an interesting production to say, at least. And now we should head over to what Nit has to say. So, he says, politely assuming gender there, he says, well, actually, mind you, to be fair, I call everyone a he until proven otherwise. I frequently get called a boy, or a he, but, spirits have no gender, so it doesn't really matter. He says, powerful vocals here. You can feel the love that went into this one. Linda obviously was very into this one as she sang it. Yeah, as I've also stated, the lyrics are pretty there. Ideal activity for listening, cleaning the house, or cooking, as it will give you a burst of well-timed focus for a moment without taking you over the top. That's actually a very good point to be making, because I've never really sort of discussed the factor of what I would do whilst listening to the song. I have recommended like a few unknown songs for like driving and all, but other activities such as, cleaning the house or, something like that. I know there's a couple of initial D folks who take Eurobeat to the gym and stuff. I've seen this spread across Brat Sinclair's channel and his comment section. But that is an interesting take, because it is, I will say it's a well-timed focused song for a moment, and it doesn't take you over the top. That's probably, when I said the fact that it's a little bit flat in terms of like an SEP song, but yeah, no, it's an interesting take. I will have to agree with that one there. So, and actually, this is sort of the first time I'm actually reviewing what he's written. He has a sing-along factor at the bottom, so that's also another interesting take, a sing-along factor, whilst I just, rate the song as a whole. Regardless, I only sing along to songs if I know the lyrics, or if the song really stands out to me. So he's got a sing-along factor on all his songs, and I will be discussing those as well. So his sing-along factor is a 3 out of 10. 10's a high scale, but I'll take it. 3 out of 10. He just listens along to this song. Yeah, for me, it also would be a sort of background song, if anything. But let's move on to the second song now. Track number 2, and you'll be happy to know, Fast Way, Rock Beatin' Wild. I've given this one 2 stars out of 5, and we'll see what Nit says. Also, this song came out in 2010. Am I a Fastway fan, or am I an Ace fan? Or am I even both? A quote from my own review of SEB 2022. The mystery, however, still seems to go unsolved. At this rate, as Fastway seems to get more attention, I might be more into Ace, because I like to pay attention to artists that don't get that recognition. And that is basically what the channel is all about as well. Fastway is significant. You can hear him that almost too instantly before the song really starts. It's a very iconic alias for SEP. Probably one of his most, probably one of SEP's top aliases to come out of the label. However, is this a song I like or really like? It's a decent enough introduction for the Alias for this first volume to, showcase their catalogue. And for those true Fastway fans, you will have known that he's sounded a lot more different in his past songs before SEP, and one of which is Asia Gang with Roppongi Suicide. Roppongi or Roppongi. It's been pronounced differently in two different labels. Roppongi, I believe, with Roppongi Carleon in Asia Records, and Roppongi Nights by Gino with, I believe, might be 8-Beat C, but correct me on that because, well, I'm not really familiar with 8-Beat C and their songs. Nevertheless. So Roppongi Suicide, Asia Gang, featured in Super Eurobeat Volume 3. I believe that was with Asia Records as well, that song. Yeah, it's got to be if Asia Gang is mostly under Mara Farina. Okay, well, let's not get too sidetracked here. Although, not to shoot myself in the foot, I only know that fact due to research. That he sounds very different. If you listen to it, you probably wouldn't have guessed it was Fastway. The intro is fun for this song, not Roppongi Suicide. The intro is fun. It reminds me of my not early childhood, but it reminds me of my childhood within school. With, and this is kind of a broad or very stretch of a take. Queen's We Will Rock You. An odd comparison, like I said, quite a stretch, I know. But other than that, for a song called Rock Beaten Wild, it does have an influence of the genre rock. Well, I'm really guessing at this point because, if you know me, you know that I'm not very smart within genres. And if you know SEP, it's got the tints of the significant style hidden in there too. So it's got both SEP and it's got both another genre in it, and it's just clumped together in one song, and wowzers, In fact, I sort of wish maybe they used this for the intro of the volume, but considering the fact that it has another genre looped into the SEP significant style, probably also would have been a bit of an misinformation, so maybe not so. But for an introduction to introduce Fastway, yeah, that's exactly what we're on about. And now let's see what Nit has to say. This one is an impressive electric guitar. It's got that groove you listen to Fastway for. Yeah, we listen to Fastway for the electric guitar, but then I feel like the snake would also fit that sort of sentence. If I had to choose a favourite Fastway song, it wouldn't be this, but I enjoy every second of it all the same, and it's definitely a classic Fastway. Very strong, valid point there. If you had to choose a Fastway song, yeah, it wouldn't be this. I've not listened to enough Fastway tracks to sort of form or agree to sort of opinion. Maybe I've listened to maybe about I don't know, maybe 6-7 in my total lifetime of Eurobeat, which is since 2019 in the summer. Yeah, but I can still really much agree with this one. Oh, the sing-along factor that he has at the end of every song he's commented? The ideal factor is also at the end of every song review. That is pure genius. I'm actually really liking the way you're reviewing the songs. So, ideal factor for listening to Fastway's Rockin' Beatin' Wild is going for a run. Yes, and I'm sure you Initial D fans could very much agree with such a statement. Sing-along factor, 7 out of 10. Belts out that chorus. I don't know the lyrics to this song, so I can't make a judgment. And so let's head to track 3, which is going to be quite a stir-up within our reviews. Track 3 is none other than less, and if you don't know the track listing of this volume, well, what are you doing as an SEP fan from Initial D? Jagger, I Won't Fall Apart. And drum roll, if you please. I'm giving this one a 1 star out of 5. Yes, that is going to stir up quite a bit. Quite a bit of controversy within Initial D. But I'm not afraid to say that, though. Famous for Initial D, famous for the sound of the voice. And actually, when does this play in Initial D? Because I can only just about remember when Forever Young by Symbol plays. Which is another song that I don't like. I like Symbol, and I like Overload, and I like the other top common alias by Simone Vallejo, but unfortunately, I don't like Forever Young by Symbol. Yes, come at me, you Initial D fans. For me, this falls under the heavy hated Eurobeat list. Others include, well, it actually used to include Perfect Hero and Save Another Day for Me, both by Christian Di Leo. However, sadly, this one, over those 4 years, it's not grown on me, and I still find it rather overrated. As the average Eurobeat fan goes, well, I'd hardly actually rate myself as average, considering I'm not even in the Eurobeat community, but hey ho. Though, what don't I like about the song is the real question to be asking. The intro is long, cluttered. It sort of reminds me of another intro, or perhaps something from Brett Sinclair's catalogue. Another random comparison, I know, but bear with me. As that's who I am. The melody is a cluster of cluttered. A lot going on in my brain and it's struggling to even find one point to focus on. And the lyrics? Well, common as hell for a heartbreak song, yet I will say it does have that good amount of energy if you want to drive along to it. So it's not all a big loss. It's just that I only listen to it now and then I'll never touch it ever again. You lot are probably hating me for such a heavy hated review, and let's go back to Nit and see how he will shed some light on how good this song is. Because looking at his sing-along factor, he's got a 10 out of 10. Pretend you're on a way to a concert. You guys can probably agree with that more than I can. And I love the fact that we have polar opposites. That's what we need to get talking about a lot more. This is one of my all-time favourite eras of Eurobeat, much less this album. It has the same vibe as a Eurobeat cover of a pop song. Okay, I will strongly go with that. I could easily imagine this being sung on American Idol, which is delightfully unusual given Eurobeat's usual grasp of the English language. I don't really know American Idol, I just know it's probably something like the British equivalent of like X Factor and Britain's Got Talent, and the sort of like, contests where you prove that you're good at singing or dancing and weird stuff like that, Like I said, Britain's Got Talent. Ideal activity for listening. Listening with friends, hyping yourself up. We're all friends in the Initial D community. We're not all friends in the Eurobeat community. It is somewhat very scary on that side, but we're all friends in the Initial D community, so we're all sharing this song continuously and spamming it because it's the best song ever. Talk about being overrated as hell. That's all I have to say about this one. And you can't tell me otherwise when I'm providing facts here, right then, and right now. Track 4, Hot Blade, Plastic, 1 star out of 5, 2010. Actually, to be fair, all these songs came out of 2010. Yeah, all songs came out of 2010. Don't even know why I'm doing this. Hot Blade's Manifold Love. Yes, no. But I'm just poking fun at MF Ghost. And can I say before we even get into this song, not Manifold Love, but Plastic, that this is a weird title. Anyone else agree? No? I don't even know if SCP is even like the common Eurobeat Fire Desire lyrics. It's a genre, it's not genre, it's a label that I've not really invested a lot of time into significantly in order to pick out what really is different. All I know is that the style is different. If the lyrics are different from the usual Fire Desire structure like most Eurobeat has, that would be something worth mentioning and pointing out. But as much as listening to EuroKudos Volume 1 to 10, I can't really make that statement, unfortunately, so yeah. If anything, though, for this album, all the songs flow nicely in the same atmosphere. And if you know me, atmosphere is key within songs, and just music in general. It's a little hard to separate each individual song, however, because they all just come up in one big clump. So I have nothing for this song, sadly, and I'm going to leave it to Nit to review. Not really sure if I'm a Hot Blade fan, though I really do like I'm Your Sexy Machine. He's got quite an attractive voice for the SCP label. Oh, not even Nit likes this. Well then, not my favourite. Doesn't feel partially inspired, and more of a Fastway ripoff. Okay, strong, bold, but without bringing too much to the table. Also, what the hell does it mean? Is it about race car tires? Did you know that race car backwards is race car? We should have just left the review at this. It is a lot better than my review, I have to say. I don't even know the lyrics to the song, but the fact that it's called Plastic just throws you off instantly. Ideal activity for listening. In all honesty, I zoned out for most of it, so maybe that. That's also where I go with this one. I've played it a couple of times while trying to write a review for this, and nothing sticks at all. Sing-along factor 3 out of 10. Might be fun to do the background voices of Go Crazy and Alright. That's when you know a song is not good. You're referencing samples and not the actual lyrics itself. Moving on. Track 5. J Lair, Little Little Star, pronouncing little without the T's. I'm not going to correct myself for it because I don't feel obliged to. 3 stars out of 5. And unfortunately, yes, I think this is my highest rated song on this track listing. Ferdinand Lair. If you know my Instagram, you know exactly where I'm going with this. If you don't know my Instagram, then what are you doing? Links in the bio and get on board with an even better truckload of shenanigans. The fact is, I also want to mention my YouTube channel as a whole. If you know my little Actors X Eurobeat series, and if you maybe followed that, then I think you're gonna know where this is going. Mr. Pertwee, the third Doctor in Doctor Who. This is a song I find that fits with him rather well. And as just stated, it is part of my Actors X Eurobeat series. It's a space-themed song, melody and lyrics-wise, and it sounds rather futuristic, though it is only from 2010. And the Third Doctor was at least 1970 to 1974. And we all know that the 70s is nothing like 2010s. It's a wacky thing to even think of such nonsense, the whole Actors X Eurobeat shenanigan. But leave it to me. That's my channel. But that's when I just have to ask, now that I've made this and I've filtered this into your brain, and if you are a Doctor Who fan, at least, can you see a TARDIS flying through the time vortex? No? Well, okay. Your loss, I shall say. The lyrics, however, they're about a girl who is a little star. My guess is this could be the Doctor, and bear with me because I have very little knowledge in Doctor Who, surprise, surprise, that he could be portraying such a song to one of his companions, and I want to make the bold assumption of Sarah Jane, who has made quite the impact on such a TV show. I believe she's with the Third Doctor, originally the Fourth Doctor. She's even had the Sarah Jane Adventures. And if this song's about a little star who he's proud of, and how far she's come and stuff like that, then yes, it feels pretty much made for this assumption. But obviously I know that Knit is not going to go on about Doctor Who and is probably going to go on about something else. But the main take on this is the space themed and how it actually sounds like bloody space. However, the 8-bit intro is quite a nice touch. But if you listen to the original, or I think it's the original intro, but the original intro in one of the Eurobeat, what's the album called? It's not Eurobeat Flash. Is it Eurobeat Fantasy? It wasn't Eurobeat Flash and it wasn't Eurobeat Fantasy or whatever the hell I was thinking of. It was Super Eurobeat 205. The intro on that version is holy shit, you know? Swearing isn't permitted on this channel, but yeah, holy shit. Is that an intro that actually captivates the whole space aesthetic? It's just wowzers. The fact that you get some Eurobeat songs that are themed to certain like topics, like other space themed songs don't feel like space or don't sound like space. This is space and there is no exception. And no other song comes up to the space aesthetic. Yes, yes, a million times yes. Something we agree on. This feels like a risk that paid off in spades. Regardless, it is new, fresh, exciting in terms of typical Eurobeat thematics, adorable and romantic to boot. Oh, well, I wouldn't say romantic, but adorable is a strong word. I would go with this. This was such a refreshing find. Yes. I can agree with that one there. The lyrics making sense is not necessary for all Eurobeat. But it works. Well, here. This is one of the rare Eurobeat songs you can show to the normies without scaring them. Well, I mean, I wouldn't know. Ideal activity for listening. Dancing, writing a story, daydreaming. I often like to daydream with this one. In fact, when it comes to this episode in my Actors X Eurobeat, I want to make the ultimate edit for the Third Doctor, Mr. Pertwee. But every time I listen to the song, the daydream or the whole scenario that we create when we listen to songs changes every single bloody time with new information found or new footage found or new episodes of Pertwee's Doctor watched, you know? It's just beautiful because it just changes every single time, you know? It never gets boring, it's never gonna die. The fact that I actually really compared this to Doctor Who is really strong right now with all the other facts that I'm picking up about this. I really do strongly associate this with Doctor Who. It's weird comparison, I know, but let me have this moment. Sing-along factor, 10 out of 10, no notes, just perfect. Track 6, and we're back with Linda Orgarelli, but this time with our more well-known alias, Irene. Cool over, 2 stars out of 5. Irene, to me, at least, is the first alias I discovered for Linda Orgarelli. I can't remember what song it was, but here we are. I know the song is called Cool Over, but I always seem to imagine there's 2 L's in the title, and the way that she says the title of the song, it just tends to look like Cool Lover, but I don't know which would be better, Cool Over or Cool Lover. Cool Lover seems very standard and typical, and it probably would follow the Eurobeat Fire Desire structure. But Cool Over is interesting because it's new and something that probably hasn't been done before. Wait, is Cool Over even is one word or 2 words? As a British spirit, English has left the chat. Brits are very, very bad with grammar. And I know this because a lot of foreign people online have told me otherwise. English has definitely left chat. Loving her voice. She is my 5th favourite female vocalist. I will put a link to that video right now. But like Fastway, this is a good song to introduce her in this album, but not a good enough song to introduce her as a whole. If you aren't talking about EuroKudos, the melody is so compact it's like any other SEP song. It's hard to register what's going on and to even break it down, but that's their style, and I shouldn't be bashing it too much. So last point I want to make for the song is towards the end and the intro. We get this weird effect of speeding it up and pitching it up, where surprisingly I'm rather fond of it. If we know the speeding up and the pitching up effect in a Hot Racing Car by GO2, I know it's pronounced Go2, but I've always said GO2 and I'm sticking by GO2, then we know that is a SEP feature and it isn't really used in any other label And surprisingly, in using that effect in this song, I'm rather fond of it. It's okay in Hot Racing Car, but it's better here. And yeah, that's my take on it. So Nit says, while the title was clever, I didn't think this one was extremely impressive overall. There are some cute bits though, and Linda does not disappoint in giving it her all. Yeah, despite the song not being the best, she still gives it her all, which is quite an important and beautiful notion. Not a lot going on here otherwise, but I do like the change of synth intensity, slight vocal fade out towards the end. I thought there was too much going on in this song. I mean, the melody is very cluttered in my opinion, but maybe it's not a lot going on for your usual typical SEP fan, so yeah, you'd be more obliged to say that than I would, because I haven't dissected SEP. Ideal activity for listening, got a good rhythm for gaming. I'm not a gamer, so sing-along factor, 5 out of 10. There's some satisfying singable moments, particularly in the chorus. Yeah, I could probably just sing out the title of the song and that would be me for the rest of the song. I can only even remember the title of the song because that's when I said cool over or cool lover. But other than that, no, the song does not stand out for me. Track 7. Things are starting to get a bit more interesting towards the end of this volume. We have The Snake, and in the last track of this album we have Ace. So it is nice to see that we have the iconic aliases of SEP within its first volume. It's an interesting way to introduce your label, I have to say. Put in all your iconics first. No pressure on them, but pressure on them to draw fans into the label. Poor guys. The Snake. Oh, Lord. This is also another hot take. Like Jagger's I Won't Fall Apart, you better believe it, it's also 1 star out of 5. We have the vocalist in this, Alessio, and we also have the guitarist, Andrea, because the Snake is more or less a duo combined, not just a singer, you know? There are 2 performers, not 1. But the speed of light from Initial D's Arcade Stage, Volume 8 or something, is the Snake's most well-known Eurobeat song that I can think of, and not just when it comes to Initial D, I'm just thinking of in general. I can't help but to think about the way the title Freedom Bride is sung. I actually can't remember how it's sung right now, but I'm sure if I listen to the intro of the song, I will be able to remember that. Unfortunately, I know nothing else about the Snake, except the awesome and so to quote from fans all around that the guitar solos are probably one of the best from any artist within Initial D, within Eurobeat. But then I fail to believe that because I quite like Dave Rogers' guitar solos, which is very strange to be saying because I'm not really much a Dave Rogers fan. But this song is no exception. Good energy, good to drive to. It's unfortunate that I have nothing else to say about a small, semi known unknown alias. Let's see if Nit can fill up the runtime on this one. This has some nice lyrics that make sense and paint a clear picture of the singer's narrative in the song. The chorus is catchy. There are a few more interesting songs than this, and it does have a fast-way rip-off vibes, but it definitely grew on me as I listened to it more and more. Fast-way rip-offs is an interesting take to be making, I have to say. Ideal activity for listening? Driving. I mean, look at the title. Yes, look at the title. Sing-along factor, 7 out of 10. Great choice for singing along. Yeah, no, it's a 1 star out of 5 for me, so shrugs to that. But you guys will probably be able to relate to Nit a lot more than the Shy Guy, if anything. I am sorry but not sorry for disliking overrated Eurobeat or Initial D songs. Like I say, do come at me for these statements. And last but not least, track 8. Yes, there are 3 other songs after this, but considering they're just like remakes with a little bit of with being a little bit different from the originals given in the first 8 songs, we decided to skip that just a little bit instead of repeating ourselves. I don't know what Nit's opinion is on terms of remakes and covers and all that sort of stuff and remixes. I just know that mine's not, well, the best. So let's just round it off on a good alias, to say at least. So now we have Ace, and we have Fastway, Hot Blade, Jagger, and all those ones. Ace should be a good one to round off this volume. And for the first introduction to SCP. Me and You, 2 stars out of 5. I expect this song to be soft, what with the title. Though knowing Ace for his top songs in Initial D, I feel like that might not be the case. However, I prefer to be a real softie around him, and have listened to his songs like Wait For You or My Valentine. In fact, check out my Valentine's Day video for you lonely drivers. Me and You is like the in-between song of his soft side and his famous up-kicking side. Much like his buddy Fastway. Heck, no wonder why GO2 exists. It's a soft intro with lyrics and melody. It's almost magical, even. Eh? Oh, okay. Just go and get the song and listen to, if anything. For me, if anything, if I really want to introduce Ace, I probably wouldn't pick this song. As, like our first song in this track listing, it might be a little bit misleading. And for hearing Ace with his songs and being memorable with his songs Wait For You and My Valentine, there's a lot of misinformation, despite Ace having, those really well-known songs in Initial D, which for some reason I can't seem to remember at the top of my head. And that's really frustrating me. But it's a little bit misleading because I want him to be a softie because he's quite good at being a softie, but he's not. And, well, that's it. But it's nice, though, that artists can be one thing and then be the other thing. But the fact that they're using Ace for both soft and up-kicking is a little bit, maybe separate the aliases a little? I mean, Maurizio, Casanova is like soft compared to Maurizio's Dejo, which is up-kicking. If you put Casanova and Dejo together, I mean, whoa, that would be a big massive yikes almost. But let's not bash the song. Let's just get lost into the lazy seasonal nights with the love of our life, as SCP is rather capable of playing with our emotions ever so lightly. And for the second final review from Nit himself, as we also have we both gave our reviews to round off the volume and what we think of this volume. Ace is one of his Eurobeat idols, and he likes the more sentimental pop twist he's done for many songs. Okay, beautiful. But this one is a bit too sappy for him. I don't find this one to be sappy enough. Bonus points for being a legit love song, but this isn't necessarily what I come to Eurobeat for. With him being a more Italo-Disco sort of fan, I'd say Italo-Disco is probably a bit more maybe romantic than Eurobeat, but Italo-Disco is more disco and dancing, if anything. In all honesty, if it fell toward the middle of the album, it might have been better. Yeah, I wouldn't use this to round up the volume. And I wouldn't even use Yo Shine, Power of My Love, to be the intro. So, SCP needs to work on a little bit of, toning and atmosphere, I suppose. Yeah, if it was in the middle of the album, it would have been better, but this was a weak way to end off the first volume, like I said. Ideal activity for listening. Well, I guess if it makes you think about someone special, then do that. Sing-along factor, 4 out of 10. It gets a few points for having a chorus you can sing to someone you like. If you're 13 and want to embarrass yourself in the lunchroom at school. Spirits don't have genders. So I have no idea what it feels like to be a boy or a girl. But I'm assuming that this is a boy. A 13-year-old boy. A 13-year-old boy in the lunchroom at school singing this song. Oh, that would be absolutely cringe as hell. I'm sorry, but that's a good review, at least, to just round off your opinions of the songs in this volume. Oh, hey ho. Let's look at the overall rating of what we give of this volume, to say, at least. God almighty. And now let's look to the overall opinion of EuroKudos of Volume 1. I will start off with Nick's review first, as it is much shorter than mine, but probably more valid than mine. His reviews seem to be a lot better than mine. Many hits, a few mid, and a few misses. Absolutely worth a full listen to. I did not feel I wasted my time on hearing the whole thing, though. Yes, there is quite a few hit and misses. I too also didn't feel like this was a waste of time listening to it, but I sort of did. And this is my review. It's a decent level for an introduction, even though only one song sticks out for me, Little Star by Jay Lair. I think maybe it's all because the songs are from 2010, with the album being released in 2014. It's starting to shake me off a little. But then mind you, saying that, Delta's Masters has also got the same formula, so I'm not sure why that didn't throw me off. But the thing is, saying that there are actually earlier songs in SCP that were released a lot earlier than these songs in this volume. Is kind of like, why didn't they start from the very beginning of their catalogue? Why did they start like maybe not three quarters of the way through, but a quarter of the way in for their catalogue to start to introduce the label with EuroKudos? That's what I want to know. Probably because maybe the early works isn't as good, but still, that's no excuse. I haven't listened to earlier SCP, but after listening to this volume and seeing that these songs have probably been left in the dust, I want to go and listen to the early works before EuroKudos Volume 1. Also, I don't even know if this album series is made off the entire discography catalogue, but if they do, awesome. If they don't, well, that just means I'm on the road once again of discovery. I'm not complaining though, nevertheless. Only really strong thing achieved here is the significant amounts of uniqueness you can instantly pick up with this volume, because other labels seem to take quite their time in finding their own feet with style. And my overall rating is 2 stars out of 5. Nit didn't give a star rating, but I feel like he would be 50-50, saying some are good, some are bad, and some of them are in between. So maybe a sort of, 5 out of 10, considering he's rated things out of a 10 and I've done a 5. But there we have it. KickStart EuroStar Beats Episode 8. Quite an interesting collab, I have to say. Where I offered the opportunity, to say at least, as knowing that Nit was a SEB fan. Better collaboration than I did with an episode 2 with SEB fan from Reddit. Which brings me round to the start of the video where I said if you want to do a collab, if you feel like you've got ideas that you want to share or express with me, there is no harm in just getting into contact, sharing those ideas, and I'll see what we can do. Social media such as Discord Instagram, go crazy. And I shall see you next month with another Eurobeat prompt and KickStart EuroStar episode 9. So stick around for the content to come.